Hello everyone, this is Prajwal Gowda pursuing BE in Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering in Department of Electronic and Communication Engineering. And here I am going to explain about data flow diagram of ARM processor and explain the process neatly with example. Introduction to data flow diagram of ARM processor. A data flow diagram illustrates how data moves within the ARM processor, and A, a data flow diagram showcases the flow of data in between various components in within the processor. Understanding the data flow diagram is crucial for comprehending the functioning of ARM processor. And here the flowchart of data flow diagram of ARM processor and components of ARM processor. The ARM processor of the components are it consists of components like ALU and registers, control units, and memory. Those components those components work together to execute instructions and process data. Each components each component plays a virtual role in overall functionality of the processor. This is the flowchart. It contains memory protection unit and data watch points and flash patch and serial by viewer. In this slide, we are going to learn about data flow in within the ARM processor. A data flow starts with the instructions fetch phase where instructions are fetched from the memory. A data then it moves to the decode phase where the instructions is decoded to determine the operation, and subsequently the data is processed in the execute where the actual operations takes place. This is a flowchart of the data flow in within the ARM processor. Here some of the example of data flow in ARM processor addition operation. Here let us consider an addition operations. Add R1, R2 and R3. In the fetch phase, the processor fetches the add instructions from the memory, and during the decode phase, the processor decodes the instructions as an addition operation. And this is the example of flowchart of data flow in ARM processor. Here the continuation of example of data flow in ARM processor, and that is addition operation. In the execute phase, the processor adds the contents of registers R2 and R3, and the result will be stored in register R1. And this showcase the data flow during an addition operation in the ARM processor. In this slide, we are going to learn about data movement in ARM processor. Here the data movement within the ARM, ARM processors occurs through registers and buses. Here registers temporarily hold data during processing, and the buses facilitate the movement of data between different components of the processor. Here the flowchart of data movement in ARM processor. It contains ARM core, ETM, DAP, and memory protection unit, and serial by viewer, and data watch point, and code interface, etc. The control signals in ARM processor, and signals controls coordinate the flow of data in within the processor. These signals regulate the timing and sequencing of operations, and control signals ensure that the data moves efficiently to the processor. And this is the flowchart of the control signals in ARM processor. Interrupt handling in ARM processor. Interrupts are the signals that to temporarily halt the processor's current operation. When an interrupt occurs, the processor saves its current state and handles the interrupt. Once the interrupt is processed and process or occurred, the processor resumes its normal operation. Data flow diagram visualization. A visual representation of the data flow diagram can help to understand the flow of data in ARM processor. It shows how data moves from one component to another during the instructions execution. Visualizing the data flow diagram enhances comprehension of the processor's operation. And here the flowchart of data flow diagram visualization. At last, it concludes about the data flow diagram of the ARM processor illustrates the movement of data within the processor. And understanding the data flow is essential for the grasping the functioning of the ARM processor. And by analyzing the data flow diagram, we can appreciate the intricate, intricate process of data processing in the ARM architecture. Thank you everyone. Hope you understand the concept and hope you like the video.